It is time to answer some questions.
I wish to be a chaplain. Can I be one?
You want to be a chaplain? I mean, Charlie Chaplin? You want to be Charlie Chaplin? You can't be Charlie Chaplin. You crazy something.
Will you ever stop making text-to-speech videos? Like, are you going to keep going and going as long as you have an audience?
I shall eventually stop making them, but it'll be a while before it happens. I do know how many episodes I want the series to consist of, and I got the whole plot up until that point planned out.
What do you look like in real life?
Bruva, is it hard planting plants and trees?
Alright. I want you to imagine jumping out of a window and then landing on a conveniently placed steel fence, ending up doing a perfect backbend across it, snapping your spine in two with a terrible crushing sound. It's like that, except a lot less horrible.
What is your favorite race in Warhammer Fantasy?
I would say Tomb Kings. They were the first actual army I ever owned. I remember that I got a pack of them for Christmas back in the day when I was like 10 or something. You can just imagine the level of thin your paints the models were! My HQ unit had so many layers of paint that an excavation team could probably find fucking fossils in it.
If Games Workshop wanted to make a skirmish game based on a what-if scenario for the first few decades of Millennium 42, and they offered to hire you to write the fluff, would you accept their offer?
Oh, yes, I totally would, but I would probably be the first one to ask what kind of desperation led them to make that decision.
Who would win in a fist fight between Commander Boreal and Captain Diomedes?
I would say Diomedes. As you may have noticed by now, Apollo Diomedes has 4 metal bolts stuck in his head. This is actually not due to him tripping into a box of bolter shells, even though it has more than likely happened, but it's actually due to an Astartes tradition where a battle brother has metal bolts shoved into his cranium after typically 100 years of service. They are called service studs. Since Diomedes has a grand total of 4 chunks of metal hammered into his forehead, it would imply that he has served the chapter for 400 years. And that's not even counting his years as a scout. Now, if you look at good old Inric over here, he has no service studs squeezed into his bald head at all, which would imply that Boreal has a lot less experience than Diomedes. Following this logic, it would be safe to say that Boreal would get his hairless head punched into his armor like a turtle, and probably sent on a penance crusade to the Eye of Terror for insubordination, which would probably be a good thing for the Blood Ravens chapter, because then Boreal wouldn't have ended up as a force commander for the Karma campaign, and thus he wouldn't have wasted 5 entire companies of Space Marines in a single massive failure. Yes.
Can I turtle?
Well, Larry, it's your health. You can do whatever you want with it, I guess. Moving on.
What the heck is Alpha Legion anyways?
First off, it's not the Alpha Legion traders. Secondly, it's basically a Space Marine chapter gone wrong.
Are furries allowed in the Alpha Legion? Also, what's the Emperor's opinion on gay marriage?
Well, I do not see why someone who is into stuff like that cannot also be a Warhammer 40k fan, so yeah, sure, of course. As long as they don't try to force any, furry stuff into the community, it's all good. And I don't think the Emperor really cares who you marry, as long as it isn't a Chaos God or something. So there.
Will that and the Sailor be featured in the coming ITEHATTSD Aka Emperor Showen series? And by the Emperor, where in Sweden do you live? LS.
Abaddon will make his appearance later on. Oh, and I live in Gästrikland!
Do you have a pet?
I have 2 cats. One is constantly confused and turns into a ragdoll when you pick her up. And the other is actually surprisingly active, playful, and spoiled for being like 16 years old or something.
Boss, where did my bike go?
Wait, Larry, haven't you already asked the question? Also, I gave it to Carl. Rip bike.
When are going to release Fate of the Guards?
Does Boreal have a pukered ass?
I don't know who this Boreal is. but it sounds like he needs ointment.
Will Blood Ravens or angry Space Marines, or maybe even Space Marines of the Red Army, TF2 make an appearance in text-to-speech?
So far, I'm honestly uncertain about the Blood Ravens, because they're currently very weak company-wise, and they're actually a quite unnoteworthy chapter, all things considered. It would be hard to include them in a way that isn't forced. As for the Angry Marines, I'll most likely never include them, as I want to distance myself from using memes. A reference is as far as I'll go with them.
Hey Alpha, your opinion on the chapter master game and the chance of having one of the Marines get your nick, Alfabusa?
It's amazing!
Will you notice me, Chapter Master Senpai?
Man, I sure wish there were some questions around today. It just seems like no one wants to give me any questions. Oh well, I guess I'll just leave since no one's here. Huh.
What is your favorite story arc in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure?
Hard question. I'd probably say part 4 or part 7, I think. I am starting to like part 8 as well though, and part 5 will always have a special place in my heart. Actually, fuck it, I like all parts. Okay, there you go.
Do you have a set plot for the TTS? How far ahead do you have planned for TTS?
I actually got the entire plot stuff set out from the beginning till the end. I even know how many episodes I'd like the series to be. There might be some changes made though, but I'll be sticking with the general outline I've set up for each episode.
Why do you hate Ultramarines so much?
I do actually not hate the Ultramarines. It's called a joke! Same goes for the Tau and actually pretty much everything else.
Kan du sjunga på svenska?
Nej! Håll käften!
You want mate?
Hey Larry, why are you posting all these questions? Don't you have a... Hold on a second.
Where did my bike go?
But if Larry's over here... If this is Larry, then who is...